Good evening, Great Britain. I'm Lillabeth with Entertainment Tonight. Last month, the disappearance of 17-year-old Billy Weaver struck fear into the heart of the UK. Mr. Weaver's disappearance marks the third time a young man has been lost in Bath, England. Police, eager to rest England's mind, immediately began their investigation. After we were notified of Weaver's disappearance, we had to wait a couple of days to make sure Weaver wouldn't just turn up. It's policy. But after the initial wait was over, the boys and I started getting letters, phone calls from his family, his employers, and the general public, telling us to start a search, and what was there to do but begin? The first man the police talked to was a porter at Bath train station that had given Weaver directions. He asked me where he could find a fairly cheap hotel near here, and I pointed him down the street to the Bell and Dragon pub. However, there had been no new boarders that day at the Bell and Dragon pub, so the police inquired in a house on the street to the pub. The middle-aged woman who lived there, Mrs. S.E. Dennis, was offering lodging and breakfast to a boarder. The police looked in her guest book and found Billy Weaver's name signed there. When we asked her where he'd gone, she said he was still in the house. And then she giggled and covered her mouth and whispered, "Oh, I've said too much." Then she tried to run, but two of the boys restrained her. She was still giggling. Real kooky, that one. The police searched the house and found something surprising. On the fourth floor of the home, we found a taxidermy studio with lots of little stuffed animals laying around. And not the kind your daughter cuddles with. My boys opened the closet and the men's bodies fell right on us. It was quite scary. Police discovered that the bodies had been stuffed by S.E. Dennis. Scientists tested the bodies and found that the young men had been poisoned. She used cyanide. She put it in their tea. They probably thought it was almond tea. That's what it tastes like. Bitter almonds. Dennis herself stated in her testimony that she didn't think her crime was worth punishing. A little thing like that? Silly dears. I kept them like pets. That's all. I stuff all my little pets when they pass on. Mrs. Dennis is 51 years old and lived on an abandoned street. Her husband and two sons died in World War I, and scientists say she began stuffing animals shortly after, pausing around the time of each disappearance. It was easy to rule guilty, according to the jury and judge. It was a unanimous vote. Everyone could see from her testimony that she was crazy. It was easy to sentence her to death. And I'll tell you why. Dennis is scheduled to be executed by poison on October 31st, 1926. Until this date, she will live out her days in Arkham Insane Asylum, located just outside of Gotham City. I'm Lillabeth, signing off of Entertainment Tonight. Have a good evening, Great Britain.